Hi, and congratulations on completing week 5, and welcome to week 6, Christology and overview of the work of Christ. Now, this week we have 3 different goals. Well, before that, I know I look like a little black blob, but I thought you would rather look out the window. I'm in Wichita, Kansas, doing some flight training on a new airplane, and so this is a different background. But with that said, so we have 3 different goals: to demonstrate comprehension of the historical debates about method in Christology and articulate a personal conviction on this debate. And the idea being in that 2,000 years ago, after the time of Christ, it was easy for people to understand the divinity of Christ, but they often denied the humanity of Christ. Well, fast forward to today, it's easy for us to understand, and most scholars see the humanity of Christ, but sometimes we deny the deity of Christ, both of which are heresies. And so it is important to understand the current debates on who Christ was and what he stood for, and how he could be both divine and human. Next, to define an orthodox understanding of the person of Christ and identify heretical Christologies, which is what we're talking about, and then finally to explain the overall work of Christ. Why was he important to our understanding of God's message? So we have 2 assignments and a discussion post like we've had all semester. In assignment 6.1, in 2 to 3 pages, describe the debate about Christological method as presented in Erickson, your textbook. Now, while I'm saying presented in Erickson, your textbook, always I am looking for outside research to compare and contrast to Erickson. Integrate the additional reading resource on the topic into your analysis, which is McKnight and Bird. Quickly summarize key areas of disagreement in the debate and describe your own personal thoughts for the best and most faithful method for learning about Jesus. So in this, you're really going to be trying to accomplish a great deal, which is, what is Erickson saying about Christology? What did McKnight and Bird say? What perhaps does an outside resource say? And how do they agree or disagree? And begin to understand that there is not unity on how we should understand Christ's work. In assignment 6.2, you are asked by a church member to provide some information on an evangelical view of Jesus. His nephew is attending a university, and he has been exposed to the ideas of the Jesus seminar and is beginning to question the orthodox view of Jesus. So in 2 to 3 pages, briefly describe an evangelical understanding of Jesus' person and provide a defense of the deity and humanity of Christ to help this student. So this could be a letter, it could be a paper, but essentially you are going to outline the evangelical orthodox understanding of Jesus while comparing and contrasting different views on humanity and deity of Jesus. So now for our discussion, you have 2 options. In option 1, in the early church, the deity of Jesus was accepted and the humanity questioned. In the modern area, his humanity has been generally accepted, but his deity questioned. Do you think these emphases, driven by apologetic concerns in the respective cultures, which shows how culture, in fact, can impact our theological questions, but driven by apologetic concerns in the respective cultures, have been a help or a hindrance in theological thinking? What dangers or challenges do you think our current cultural setting presents? In other words, what questions do we ask because of our current culture? And what steps can we take to avoid an imbalanced view between deity and humanity? A second option, most Christians and churches focused almost exclusively on the death of Christ, the atonement, when talking about Christ's work. In fact, one of the big questions, is it his teaching or his death that we need to think about? And Paul in Romans talks a great deal about without Jesus' death, none of this matters. So the atonement is clearly a central, if not the central part of the New Testament. Given the broader range of events associated with Christ's work, whether framed as stages or functions, what do you think that is? So most Christians and churches focus almost exclusively on the death of Christ when talking about the work of Christ. Given the broader range of events associated with Christ's work, why do you think that is? Why do you think that Jesus' death is what we focus on? Are there any dangers in de-emphasizing other aspects of Christ's work, i.e. his teaching? What other elements deserve fuller treatment? And support your observations with biblical and theological evidence. Sorry for the stuff in the background. Continue working on your theological synthesis for 8.1. Be sure in 1 to 2 pages summarize your own conclusions and convictions about the person of Christ this week. So at the end of the week, your course surveys should start to pop up. Those should be done in week 7 and week 8. They're really important to Moody and very important to me. It's kind of my report card on how I'm doing, and I do review those to help make changes in my own teaching. Email or call me with questions. I'll be in Wichita this week, crashing airplanes daily in the simulator to see its limits. And learn how this new jet engine turboprop functions. So I'll be having fun. I know you guys will as well. I know this is kind of crunch time in the semester where family responsibilities, work responsibilities, and school responsibilities all come into that crunch of, oh my goodness, I have 3 weeks left. Please stay focused. I know that God will support you through this, and look forward to seeing what you guys come up with as we talk about Jesus and the atonement. Have a great day.